Have you ever felt like no one really cares about you? Do you sometimes wonder why it hurts so much when people ignore you? Have you ever felt so alone that you wanted to scream? Does anyone even notice me? This is how so many people live every day. They walk down crowded streets, sit in busy rooms, yet inside, their heart feels empty. They feel like a shadow that no one sees. There was a man once who worked hard every day, hoping that someone would thank him, hoping that someone would notice him. But no one did. One evening, he stopped and asked himself, "Why am I doing all this? Do these people really care?" That night, he learned a powerful lesson. He discovered that no one can give you the peace you seek except yourself. Welcome to Wisdom Woven. This channel is here to help you understand life in a deeper way. There's so many views on this channel, but only 0.2% subscribe. So, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to our channel. It really helps us a lot, and it allows us to keep sharing these lessons with the world. In the teachings of the Buddha, this feeling of being ignored is called the truth of life. The Buddha said that the world is always changing. People come and go. Attention shifts like the wind. No one can hold another person forever. This doesn't mean you have no worth. It means you have a chance to find worth within yourself. He taught that seeking happiness from others only leads to pain. What you seek must arise from inside. The first step is to understand that no one can walk your path for you. No one can feel your pain as deeply as you do, and no one can give you peace except yourself. This is why accepting that no one really cares can be a gift. It sets you free. It makes you strong. It allows you to focus on nurturing your own heart. In accepting this truth, you can open the door to a quiet strength. This strength doesn't come from the world. It comes from deep within. Remember, the world will always be the way it is. People have their own struggles, their own thoughts, their own battles. What matters is how you walk your path, how you carry yourself when no one is looking. In this way, you can rise above the noise and find the peace you've been searching for all along. Have you noticed how often we look for a nod, a smile, or a word from someone else to feel that we matter? The Zen Master watched this in silence every morning. People would walk by, hoping for a glance, hoping for a word. They felt happy when noticed and sank when ignored. The Zen Master would smile to himself, knowing how much pain this caused inside the heart. He spoke to a student one morning and said, "The world is like a mirror. Whatever you ask from it, it gives only for a moment. Whatever you seek from others, you lose within yourself. To long for a word of praise is like trying to catch the wind in your hand. The tighter you hold, the quicker it slips away." The student asked, "But why do we seek this attention? Why do we long for a smile, a word, a glance?" The Zen Master replied, "Because deep down we forget ourselves. We forget the quiet strength that lives within. We forget that a tree doesn't wait for applause to grow tall. We forget that the river doesn't wait for thanks to flow. We forget that the sun doesn't wait for a word to rise. So why should you?" He said, "People walk their own path. Sometimes they notice you, sometimes they don't. Sometimes they smile, sometimes they walk past. This doesn't make you smaller or larger. What makes you strong is knowing your worth from within, knowing that no one can give it to you. Seeking worth from others is like planting a seed in dry sand. It will never grow." Then the Zen Master placed a hand on the student's heart and said, "Look here. This is where your worth lives. Not in the words of others, not in the thoughts of others, not in the applause of others. Here, in this quiet space. Here is the root of a strong life. Here is where no one can touch you." He spoke of how the Buddha watched this very nature of the human heart. The Buddha watched how people became like beggars, going from one person to another, hoping for scraps of affection, hoping for moments of attention. The Buddha said, "This is like holding a burning coal. The more you hold, the more you hurt yourself." The Zen Master spoke gently. Each person is busy with their own path. Each person has their own sorrows, their own fears, their own struggles. To expect them to notice you is to forget this truth. Not because they don't care, but because they too are lost within themselves. To wait for them is like waiting for a bird to land on your hand when it doesn't even know you're there. He said, "See how a flower doesn't ask for a bee. The flower simply blooms. The bee arrives when it is time. The flower doesn't grow for the bee. The flower grows because it is its nature. So too must you learn to live for your nature, not for the glance of others, not for the words of others, not for the hand of others. He smiled and spoke of silence. In silence, you find strength. In silence, you find a voice that doesn't belong to the world. It is a voice that doesn't seek applause. It doesn't seek belonging. It simply is. This voice is like a quiet stream, and when you drink from it, you no longer thirst for belonging elsewhere. Then the Zen Master spoke of a man who came to him long ago. The man felt broken, rejected by friends, ignored by family. The man said, "Why am I unseen? Why am I unwanted?" The Zen Master gave him a cup of tea and said, "Why do you seek the warmth of others when you can build a fire within yourself? Why do you wait for a hand when you can stand with both your legs rooted deeply in the earth?" He said, "The man returned after many moons, no longer seeking others, no longer a beggar for attention. His eyes held a quiet flame. His walk was strong. His voice was calm. He no longer felt unseen because he had learned to see himself." Then the Zen Master spoke of how this lesson applies to every heart. Each person must walk this path. Each person must understand that the world will always have noise, always have its own ways. Sometimes it will call your name. Sometimes it will forget. Sometimes it will honor you. Sometimes it will walk past. Let the world be. Let it come and go. Let it whisper or scream. You must remain as the mountain, still, strong, rooted in the earth. He said, "What the heart needs is not applause. What the heart needs is understanding. Not from the world, but from itself. Not from others, but from within. Not from hands that can be pulled away, but from the hand of the universe that rests quietly upon every being." He spoke of the river that doesn't ask for notice. The river doesn't wait for a word of thanks. It doesn't wait for a glance from those who drink its water. It simply gives. Its worth doesn't come from how many notice it. Its worth is in its nature, in its flow. So too must you live. Then the Zen Master spoke of the stars. Each star shines because it shines. Not because someone looks at it. Not because someone praises it. It shines because it is its nature. You must learn to be like the star, like the flower, like the river. Shine because you are. Grow because you can. Walk because this is your path. He spoke of how a person can break the chain of seeking validation. First, you must watch your thoughts. See when the thought appears, does this person notice me? See how it appears like a wave. Let it rise. Let it fall. Do not grab it. Do not hold it. Let it move like a wave upon the ocean. Let it go. In that moment of letting go, you will find strength. He said, then you must nurture yourself. Speak to your heart. Be kind to yourself. Give yourself words of warmth. Not to make yourself proud, not to make yourself better than others, but to make yourself whole. To make yourself enough. Then the Zen Master spoke of trust. Trust that the universe holds you, just as it holds the stars, the trees, and the rivers. You are not a mistake. You are not unseen. You are part of this great dance. The wind knows you. The earth knows you. The silence knows you. Let this knowing fill you until seeking the eyes of others becomes like a shadow that disappears in the morning light. He spoke of how the Buddha smiled upon seeing this truth. The Buddha said that when you no longer seek to be seen, when you no longer ask to be heard, you become like the sun. You rise because it is your nature. You shine because it is your nature. You walk your path because this is why you came. Not for applause, not for notice, but for life itself. He ended with a simple word. Remember this, when the world feels cold, when no one looks your way, when silence fills your heart. This silence is not rejection. This silence is an invitation to come closer to yourself, an invitation to rest within your own being, an invitation to find, in that quiet space, a warmth that no one can take away. This is how the Zen Master spoke, and this is how one finds strength that shines long after the noise of the world has passed. A Zen Master once spoke about a quiet room, a room where no one came and no one spoke. To many people, this room felt scary. It felt like being forgotten. But the Zen Master smiled and said, "In this room, you can find a great teacher called silence. He watched how people try to run from silence. They would fill their days with noise. They would pick up their phones, turn on the television, or call a friend just to forget that silence existed. They feared this room because it felt like being alone. Yet in that room, the greatest truths could be found. He said, loneliness is not an enemy. It is a visitor. It comes to tell you that you have forgotten yourself. It arrives quietly, taps you on the shoulder, and says, will you now listen? In a tiny hut deep in the forest, the Zen Master sat for many days. No one came to visit. No one called out to him. To the world, it looked like he was abandoned. But in that hut, he discovered that he was never truly alone. The sound of the wind, the warmth of the sun, the hum of the earth, they spoke to him, not with words, but with a deep knowing. He said, people fear being forgotten. They fear that no one will notice their life. But the trees do not ask for notice. The river does not ask for applause. The stars do not beg for an audience. Yet they give endlessly, quietly, openly. They teach a lesson. The worth of a life does not rest in how many people notice it. It rests in how deeply it is lived. The Zen Master watched a young boy in the village. The boy felt lonely because he had no friends. The boy felt ashamed and wondered, what is wrong with me? The master called the boy and asked him to walk with him. Together, they walked through the forest. They stopped by a tall old tree. The master said, look at this tree. It has stood here for many years. Not many come to visit it. Not many call it beautiful. Yet every morning, it shines with the light of the sun. Every night, it rests under the stars. It gives shade to the tired and a home for the birds. It doesn't ask, do you care about me? It simply lives. And in living fully, it finds its peace. The boy felt a warmth rise in his chest. He began to understand. The master placed a hand on the boy's shoulder and said, the world can forget you, boy, but you must never forget yourself. You must be like this tree. Stand tall, stand rooted, stand quietly in your own being. You don't have to wait for others to acknowledge you. You can acknowledge yourself. He spoke of how the Buddha himself walked long paths in silence, often rejected, sometimes ignored. Yet he didn't wait for applause. He watched his breath. He watched the stars. He watched the rising and falling of thoughts and feelings. And in that watching, he found freedom. The truth, said the Zen Master, is that no one can ever walk inside your heart. No one can drink from your thirst. No one can carry your pain as deeply as you. But this is not a curse. This is a gift. It means your heart is truly your own. It means that deep inside, you have a space where only you can stand. And in that space, you can grow a garden that no one can destroy. He watched the boy wipe a quiet tear from his face. The boy smiled. The boy felt lighter. The boy felt for the first time that being no one to the world can be an opening to being everything to himself. The Zen Master spoke then of the river that runs down the mountain. It doesn't ask, will someone remember me? It doesn't wait for a witness. It simply flows. It finds its way over stones, through valleys under the trees. In that flowing, it finds its belonging. People forget because people are busy with their own thoughts and struggles, said the Master. It doesn't mean you have no worth. It doesn't mean you have no place. It means you must remember this one thing. Your worth is like the light of the sun. The sun shines not because people watch, but because it is its nature to shine. Let your heart be like the sun. Let it shine because it is its nature, not because it waits for others to notice. Then the Zen Master spoke of how loneliness can teach strength. A person who can sit quietly, alone, and smile at their own breath is a person who can walk through any storm. The world can forget them, but their heart will remember itself. The world can walk away, but their steps will still find a path. The world can doubt, but their heart will still whisper, I am enough. He spoke too of a night when the stars disappear. Sometimes the night is so dark that one can wonder if the stars are gone forever. Yet the stars are still there. They have not left. They wait for the dark to pass, for the dawn to rise. So it is with moments of being forgotten. They too will pass. What shines within will rise again. The Zen Master said, in accepting loneliness, one finds belonging. In accepting silence, one finds music. In accepting that no one can walk your path, one finds the strength to walk it fully. The Buddha said that all things arise and pass. All moments of being noticed arise and pass. All moments of being ignored arise and pass. What doesn't pass is the quiet knowing that rests deep within. He watched the boy walk away, more quiet now, more aware. The boy felt that the world might forget him, but he would remember himself. In that remembrance, a seed was planted. The seed of knowing that no one needs to carry him, no one needs to save him. He can walk. He can stand. He can be. The Zen Master smiled as he watched the boy disappear down the path. The boy was no longer afraid of silence. He was no longer afraid of being forgotten. In that quiet space of belonging to himself, the boy had found the true nature of belonging. It doesn't come from the world. It doesn't come from the crowd. It comes from a heart that knows itself deeply. And so, the lesson was passed from teacher to boy, from boy to the world. The lesson that when no one cares, one can still care for oneself. When no one remembers, one can still remember oneself. And when no one walks beside, one can still walk tall, rooted like the old tree, flowing like the mountain stream, shining like the quiet stars. That is how one finds the strength to carry on, not by seeking a hand to hold, but by finding the hand that rests within, by finding the breath that always returns, by finding the heart that always beats for itself. In this way, the boy became a man. In this way, the man became like the Zen Master. And in this way, countless others have learned to walk the path that no one can walk for them. Because when no one cares, one can rise. Not in anger, not in despair, not in fear, but in knowing. In knowing that within the silence of one's own heart rests a light brighter than any notice, warmer than any applause, deeper than any belonging the world can give. That is the teaching. That is the path. That is the truth that shines when the world forgets, when the noise falls away, when the heart rests in its own quiet knowing. In that space, one finds peace. In that space, one finds themselves. In that space, one finds the seed of belonging that can never be taken away. This is the Zen way. This is the way of the Buddha, to walk quietly, to stand firmly, to rest deeply in oneself. And in doing so, to teach the world, to teach every lonely heart, that no one can truly be forgotten when one remembers oneself. Listen closely, my dear one. Sit quietly for a moment and breathe. Let this moment slow down. Let the noise around you fade like mist at dawn. The world is always moving, always trying to grab your attention. Yet, deep down, your heart knows the truth. It is tired. It is tired of reaching out to others, hoping for a reply. It is tired of expecting too much from the world. This is where your lesson begins. This is where peace can be found. Expectation is a heavy load. It is like carrying a bag of stones up a long hill. At first, you don't notice the weight. But as you walk, every stone grows heavier. You sweat, your knees ache, and your breath becomes short. Yet you cling to the bag because you believe you must. You cling because you have been taught that your worth is measured by the love you receive from others, by the words they speak, by the gestures they make. You cling because you have learned to expect. But ask yourself this: what have these expectations brought to your heart? Do they make it lighter or heavier? Do they help you walk? Or do they make you stumble? The Buddha said, expectation is the root of all suffering. It is not because he wanted to make life hard. It is because he wanted to make life free. People often walk with a thought whispering inside, if only this person noticed me. If only that person respected me. If only life gave me more. But life does not owe you a thing. The moment you accept this, the moment you accept that no one can walk your path except you, your heart can begin to rest. Imagine a small bird perched upon a branch. It does not wonder if the world will notice its song. It simply sings because singing is its nature. Its song needs no witness, no applause. It is whole within itself. You can be like this bird. You can live as if your worth is not tied to how many people agree with you, acknowledge you, or remember your name. Expectation is like holding a flame with bare hands. You grip it tighter, hoping it will give you warmth, only to feel it burning you. Let it go. Open your hand and watch the flame rise on its own, become part of the air, and vanish. In that space, you find freedom. In that space, your heart can breathe. To let go of expectation does not mean you stop caring. It means you stop attaching. The world can move as it will. People can come and go. Words can sting or soothe. All of this can happen, and yet your heart can remain like a still lake, deep, serene, and untroubled. This is how the Buddha lived. This is how the monks and wise ones walk upon this earth. Not because they have no feelings, but because they have learned where feelings arise from and where feelings can rest. The world gives you countless moments every day. Some moments are filled with joy, some with pain. Some moments are quiet, some are chaotic. What breaks the heart is not the moments themselves, but the weight of the thought. It should be different. They should be different. Life should be different. This thought is the seed of all misery. To walk the path of the wise is to accept life as it is. To accept is not to give up. To accept is to walk with open hands, open eyes, and an open heart. Look deeply now. What is it that you expect? Is it words of thanks? Is it a glance of love? Is it a sign that you matter? These things come and go like mist upon a mountain. The mist can make the mountain beautiful, or it can obscure its shape. But the mountain does not long for mist. It simply is. The mountain rests in itself, rooted deep in the earth, rising towards the skies, serene and still. You too can be like this mountain. You can walk through this world knowing that you are enough. You can accept that no one can give you the belonging that you must first cultivate within. This is the heart of letting go. This is the gift of accepting life and others as they are. Each time you notice that tight feeling arise, the sting of why didn't they notice me? Smile gently. Do not scold yourself. Do not judge the sting. Instead, witness it. Let it rise. Let it move through you like a wave upon the shore. Do not cling. Do not resist. Let it wash itself clean, and then watch as it returns to the sea from which it came. It takes practice to walk this path. The heart, long accustomed to reaching outward, needs time to rest inward. In the beginning, you will forget. You will stumble. You will find yourself hoping again, expecting again. This is natural. Be patient with yourself. The heart is like a child learning to walk. It falls, it rises, it wobbles, and then one day it finds balance. Each time you remember, I'm expecting too much from the world, you can take a slow breath and release that grip. Let the thought dissolve. Let the heart settle. In that tiny space of release, there is the seed of deep peace. Life is always moving. People are always changing. The more you expect from them, the more you tie yourself to a wheel that never stops turning. But when you stand still, when you accept, when you release, the wheel can spin, and you can watch it with quiet eyes. You can walk beside it with grace. Trust that life gives you precisely what you must learn. Trust that every person, every word, every silence has a place in your path. Nothing arrives by accident. Even a harsh glance can be a teacher. Even an empty space can be a lesson. Let it be. Let all things arise and fall as they must. You can walk upon this earth as a witness. Not a witness who is broken when ignored, but a witness who embraces every moment. Not a witness who demands the world to be different, but one who meets it with an open heart. Not a witness who strives for belonging, but one who finds belonging within. This is the gift of letting go of expectations. It is the gift of returning to yourself. It is the gift of knowing that the treasure you seek has always been buried in the silence of your own heart. Let arise. Let illuminate the path before you. Let guide you home. Trust in this quiet truth. You can walk with a heart that is soft, yet strong. You can walk knowing that no one can walk for you. No one can live for you, and no one can give you the peace that you can only cultivate within. This is the way of the wise. This is the way the Buddha pointed towards. Let your heart remember. Let your heart rest. Let your heart walk free. A Zen Master once spoke to a seeker who felt lost. The seeker said, "Master, I am tired. Everywhere I go, I try to find someone who understands me. Everywhere I walk, I hope for a glance, a word, a sign that someone cares. But my heart only finds silence. What am I supposed to do? The master smiled quietly and replied, "Stop looking for yourself in others. Discover the self that lives within." He spoke these words slowly, allowing them to sink deep. The seeker was puzzled. "What do you mean?" he asked. The master waved a hand towards the tall trees and the mountains rising behind the monastery. "Look at these trees," he said. "They stand tall and strong. They do not ask for applause. They do not wait for a witness. They simply are. So is with the self." The master explained that people often search for themselves in the eyes of others. They want others to tell them who they are, how valuable they are, how important they are. But the truth is that no one can give this to you. No one can tell you your worth. The worth of a person can only be found within. He spoke of the Buddha, who left the palace of luxury to find this truth. The Buddha discovered that a person can spend their whole life hoping for the world to recognize them, or they can spend a moment looking inward and seeing the flame that rests quietly inside. This flame doesn't scream for attention. It doesn't beg for witness. It shines for its own sake. The seeker asked, "But Master, how can I find this flame when all I feel is darkness?" The master replied, "The darkness you feel is not your enemy. It is the silence that waits for your voice. It is the space that waits for your breath. In the stillness of that space, your flame will rise. But first, you must accept that no one can light it for you. You must accept that the world can walk by and not notice. That is how the flame finds strength." He spoke further, saying that the greatest error many make is to seek themselves in the stories others tell about them. If someone praises you, he said, you walk tall. If someone ignores you, you shrink within. Do you see how you give away the power of your own being? Do you notice how you rise and fall like a shadow, bound to the movements of another person? The seeker nodded quietly. The words sank deep. The master spoke of a man he met long ago. This man lived in a small hut, far from the bustling world. The man had no friends, no visitors, no audience. Yet every morning, he rose with the sun, tended to his garden, spoke a soft prayer, and smiled as if the world smiled with him. Why? The seeker wondered aloud. The master replied, "Because this man learned to live for himself, not in greed, not in pride, not in anger, but in quiet knowing. He discovered that life itself is the witness. The wind, the earth, the stars they watch, not to judge, but to accompany." He then spoke of the nature of belonging. To belong is not to fit where you are forced to fit, the master said. It is to stand in your own space, rooted like the mountain, open like the sky. To belong is to accept your being. You walk this path not because others walk with you, but because the path is worth walking. Not because others call your name, but because your heart whispers to you. Not because the world offers applause, but because the earth itself embraces your feet. The seeker felt a deep, quiet stir within him. The master continued, "Think of a bird in the forest. It does not ask for permission to sing. It does not wait for an audience to dance upon the wind. It simply is. Its being is enough. Its song is enough. Its flight is enough. So is with the human heart. The heart finds its worth in beating. The breath finds its worth in being taken. The hands find their worth in doing. The eyes find their worth in seeing. You, too, must find worth in being, not in being noticed." He explained that this does not mean one must reject the world. No, he said, you can walk among people. You can smile, help, listen, share. But do this knowing that your worth does not rise from their words, nor fall from their silence. You walk as a flame walks in darkness, present, serene, unshaken. The flame shines not because it must, but because that is its nature. The master spoke of moments when doubt arrives, when the seeker might ask, "Why walk this path when no one notices?" He replied, "A mountain does not ask for applause for standing tall. A river does not wait for thanks as it flows. The sun shines not for applause, but because it must. So it is with you. Live, walk, breathe, speak, be, not for applause, but because it is your nature to do so. In this way, you rise beyond the prison of others' attention. In this way, you taste freedom." He offered the seeker a lesson from the old monks. They said that a true seeker of the path finds richness in silence. In silence, the seeker meets himself. In silence, the seeker finds a strength that words can never capture. In silence, the seeker finds that he is enough. Not because someone tells him, but because the heart knows. This knowing is deeper than words. It is deeper than the noise of the world. It rests like a quiet lake within. The Master then spoke of seasons. A tree knows that its leaves will fall, yet it does not cry. It knows that its branches will stand bare in winter. It does not fear. It knows that no one will watch it struggle. Its patience, its strength. It stands. It grows. It endures. It returns to life when spring arrives. The tree lives its truth regardless of witness. You must do the same. Let your truth rise within. Let it stand like a tree upon the earth. Let it be like a mountain upon the land. Let it flow like a river towards the sea. Let it whisper like the wind upon the plains. Let it burn like the flame upon the lamp. The seeker felt a warmth rise within. The Master spoke of a deep truth. People come and go. Attention arrives and departs. Praise is a mist upon the morning air. Criticism is a wave upon the shore. None can touch the flame that rests deep within you unless you open the door for it. None can extinguish it unless you hand it to them. Guard this flame. Nurture it. Let it guide your steps, illuminate your path, warm your nights. In this flame rests the seed of immortality, a strength that does not seek applause, a peace that does not require witness. He offered one final reminder. To walk the path of knowing yourself is to walk a quiet path. It is to walk a path where no one may notice, no one may call your name, no one may witness your trials. Yet this path is holy. It is holy because it is true. It is holy because it is yours. The world may forget you, but the stars remember. The wind remembers. The earth remembers. And the silence within you remembers. Trust this silence. Trust this flame. Let it guide you beyond the noise of belonging, beyond the hunger for notice. Let it lead you to the place where you can stand, rooted and serene, knowing that you are enough. With these words, the Master bowed deeply. The seeker felt as if a great weight had lifted. He rose from the ground, a quiet smile upon his lips, a flame upon his heart. No longer a man seeking to be noticed, he became a seeker rooted in knowing. No longer a voice calling for witness, he became silence itself. No longer a shadow chasing light, he became the light upon the path. This is the heart of discovering the self beyond others. It is the path the Master spoke of, a path that does not ask for applause, a path that finds its strength in stillness, a path that finds its truth in being, a path that shines long after the world has forgotten your name. A Zen Master once spoke quietly under an old pine tree. The wind was soft that morning, and the mist floated across the mountain like a soft breath. The Master said, "Look closely, my friends, at the moments when you are completely alone. Do you run from that silence? Do you fear it? Do you try to fill it with noise, with thoughts, with memories? Or do you simply rest in it?" He watched as the young monks sat before him. Some shifted, some looked down, some felt the sting of that question. The Master smiled. In solitude, he said, "There is a great secret. It is not an enemy. It is not a punishment. It is a teacher, a healer, a mirror. In being alone, you can truly meet yourself. Not the self that you show to others, not the mask you wear for the world, but the quiet self, the soft voice that you have ignored for too long." He spoke of a man who came to him many years ago. The man was always surrounded by people, always laughing, always talking. Yet, deep inside, he felt empty. When the Master asked why, the man said, "I fear silence. In silence, I must listen to myself. What if I don't like what I find?" The Master nodded. "That is where the journey begins," he replied. To understand this, one must understand the nature of the mind. The mind is like a pond. When too many thoughts disturb the surface, the water is cloudy. You can't see to the bottom. You only see fragments, shapes, reflections. But when the pond is still, when the thoughts settle like dust, you can finally look deep. You can finally understand. This is the gift of silence and being alone. The Buddha spoke of this gift often. He said that being alone is not a curse, but a chance for understanding. In a world where everyone tries to fill the space with noise, it is a rare thing to be quiet. In that quiet, the heart finds its rest. The body finds its ease. The mind finds its home. To walk the path of silence is to walk the path of peace. The master looked around and added, "Many people fear being alone because they mistake being alone for being lonely. But these are not the same. Loneliness is a cry for the world to fill your heart. Aloneness is a choice, a moment where you accept your own company as enough. Aloneness is strength. Aloneness is clarity. Aloneness is a bridge to knowing yourself." He gave an example. Imagine a man standing in a crowded marketplace. The sound of people shouting, of carts moving, of bells ringing, fills every space. In that noise, the man forgets himself. He becomes one with the sound, one with the crowd. But if he steps away, if he finds a quiet garden, if he sits under a tree and closes his eyes, he returns to himself. The world becomes quiet, and within that quiet, he can finally ask, "What am I truly looking for? What am I truly feeling?" Through silence, the master said, you can walk closer to the truth. The noise of the world often tells lies. It tells you to compare, to compete, to seek things you don't need. It tells you that you are worth only what others say about you. But silence tells a different story. In silence, you can ask, am I enough as I am? What is my nature? What gives my heart peace? These questions arise like stars at night, and when you listen deeply, their light guides your path. He spoke of the old monks of the forest, those who lived far from the villages. Why did they seek the forest? He asked. Why did they walk away from a noise? Not because they hated people, but because they knew that to understand themselves, they must first find silence. In silence, the ego grows quiet. The greed, the anger, the restlessness, they have nowhere to hide. In silence, you can watch them arise and fall, and you can learn to let them go. Do not fear being alone, he said softly. The first moments can be painful, yes. You will notice thoughts rushing like a river, memories rising like mist, fears shaking like leaves. Let them come. Let them be. Do not run. Do not cover the silence with noise. Stay. Stay until the mist clears. Stay until the river grows calm. Stay until your heart finds its breath. Then he spoke of how this practice shaped the monks long ago. Each morning, before the sun rose, they would walk to a quiet spot. They would sit and breathe, not for minutes, but for hours. Not to escape the world, but to understand it. Not to forget themselves, but to remember themselves. The stillness became their teacher. The silence became their medicine. The solitude became their strength. The world called them lonely, but in truth, their hearts were more full than any man surrounded by a crowd. He gave another example. Consider a night when the stars fill the sky. You can only truly see the stars when the night is dark, when the noise of the day has passed. So too can you only truly understand your heart when the noise of the world has fallen away. The silence you fear is the same silence that allows your heart to speak. It is the space where wisdom can grow. It is the space where compassion can rise. It is the space where peace can rest. He spoke of how many spend their lives trying to run from themselves. They seek friends, seek entertainment, seek distractions. Yet every step away from themselves takes them further from the peace they seek. They forget that peace is not found in noise, not found in belonging, not found in pleasing others. Peace rests within. It rests in the silence that embraces all things. Remember, said the Master, you came into this world alone. You will leave this world alone. The space between those moments can be lived in noise and confusion, or it can be lived in clarity and stillness. The choice is yours. But the path of stillness, the path of silence, is the path of strength. It is the path of understanding. It is the path of knowing yourself deeply, of accepting yourself fully, of finding a peace that no one can take from you. Then he offered a lesson about acceptance. To accept silence is to accept life. To accept silence is to accept yourself. To accept silence is to accept that no one can save you except your own understanding. The world can love you or forget you, but silence will always be there to teach you. Sit with it. Let it whisper its truths. Let it wash over you like a gentle wave. Let it teach you to smile when you are alone, to rest when the world spins too fast, to stand strong when no one stands with you. The master rose and stood quietly. The wind played with the edges of his robe, and he spoke one last thought. The peace you seek is closer than you think. It rests in the spaces between words, in the moments between thoughts, in the stillness between breaths. Do not fear that silence. Do not fill it with noise. Let it be. Let it grow. Let it walk with you. Let it shape you. Let it guide you. Let it open the door to a heart that knows itself, to a mind that rests like the surface of a quiet lake. He stepped away then, and the young monks watched as he walked down the mountain path. They felt in their bones the depth of the lesson. They felt in their breath the silence he spoke of. They felt in their hearts that to walk alone, to sit in silence, to live in stillness, was not a curse, but a gift. A gift that only those who truly listen can ever understand. The mirror of impermanence. Listen carefully, dear one. There is a mirror before you, not a mirror of glass, but a mirror of life itself. This mirror reflects the truth of impermanence. Everything you see, touch, feel, and know is changing. Nothing stays the same. This is the heart of reality. When you look at this mirror, you see your thoughts, your feelings, your body, all moving like clouds in the sky. Sometimes bright, sometimes dark, sometimes fast, sometimes slow, but always changing. Many people suffer because they try to hold on to what is already slipping away. They try to keep their happiness, their youth, their friends, their possessions. They try to keep their comfort and safety. But this is like trying to catch water with your bare hands. The harder you try, the more it slips through your fingers. Why do we do this? Because we fear loss. We fear pain. We want things to stay the same so we can feel safe. But safety is an illusion. Change is the only constant. This is the teaching of the Buddha. He called it anicca, which means impermanence. Impermanence is not the enemy. It is the way things are. Like the seasons change, like the river flows, like a flower blooms and then fades. When you understand this, you see life more clearly. Try this. Look at your own breath. It comes and goes. It does not stay. It changes every moment. You cannot hold one breath forever. This breath is life's mirror. It shows you that you too are changing. When you accept impermanence, you stop clinging to pain and fear. You stop fighting the flow of life. Instead, you learn to move with it like a leaf floating on a river. This does not mean you become cold or uncaring. It means your heart becomes wise. You see that all things arise and pass away. This frees you from suffering. In the mirror of impermanence, your worries become smaller. Your anger softens. Your sadness finds space to heal. Because you know that nothing lasts forever, not even the hardest moments. You also see that happiness is not a fixed thing. It is a moment, like a bird landing briefly on a branch. When you chase it, it flies away. When you rest peacefully, it may come to you on its own. This truth helps you live fully in the present. When you stop fearing loss, you begin to appreciate what is here now. The simple breath, the warmth of the sun, the smile of a friend. The Buddha taught that clinging causes suffering. Clinging is like holding onto a thorn and expecting it not to hurt. When you let go of clinging, you free yourself from pain. Impermanence also shows you that you are not a fixed self. You are changing every moment, like the river. You are not the same person you were yesterday, nor will you be the same tomorrow. This means you can grow, change, and heal. You are not trapped by your past or your mistakes. You can choose to be kind, to be patient, to be peaceful right now. The mirror of impermanence reflects your true nature, a being who is free when not bound by fear or attachment. Remember, the river flows, the clouds move, the seasons turn. So does your life. Don't fight the current. Learn to flow with it. When you see impermanence clearly, you understand that no one truly cares or doesn't care in the way you expect. People come and go, feelings rise and fall. What remains is your own mind, learning to be calm and steady amid change. This is freedom. Have you ever felt like the world is always looking at you? Have you felt as if every word you say, every step you take, every thought you have is being watched and judged? So many people live their lives this way, always looking over their shoulder, hoping for a nod of approval or fearing a glance of disapproval. It is like carrying a heavy load every day. But the Zen Master reminds the seeker that this load is not given by the world. This load is created inside the seeker's own heart and mind. The Zen Master looks at the seeker and says, "Have you noticed the wind? It does not ask for permission to move. It goes where it must. The leaves do not ask if the world approves of their falling. They fall because that is their nature. The river does not ask if it should flow quickly or slowly. It just flows." The seeker, too, can live like this. The seeker can walk upon this earth without carrying the weight of every glance, every word, every judgment. Why does the seeker carry this weight? The Zen Master explains that it is because the seeker has placed too much value upon the thoughts and words of others. The seeker has built a house where every person is invited and every person can write upon its walls. So the seeker feels torn, pulled this way and that. But this is not the nature of a strong heart. The strong heart knows its worth. The strong heart knows its direction. The Zen Master tells the seeker, imagine a tall mountain. The mountain stands tall in sun and storm. The wind may howl upon its surface, yet the mountain does not move. The rains may wash down its sides, yet it does not collapse. The mountain knows its place. The mountain knows its nature. Be like this mountain. Let the world move, speak, judge, and whisper. Do not try to stop it. Do not try to control it. Let be, and you too can be. The seeker must understand that people will always have thoughts. They will always have words. But those words have no life unless the seeker gives them life. An insult only burns if the seeker gives it flame. A judgment only wounds if the seeker gives it space in the heart. The Zen Master reminds the seeker, the world is like the wind. Let it pass. Do not run after it. Do not try to hold it. Let it move, and you stay rooted in the quiet earth of your being. Why is this so important? Because life is too short to be lived for the applause of others. The seeker came into this world alone and will leave this world alone. The seeker's true path is between these moments, and it is walked with a heart that rests in itself. The Zen Master reminds the seeker that the one person who must walk every step of this path is the seeker. So why give the reins of this precious life to those who watch from the sidelines? Why give the pen of this story to those who have no understanding of its depth? To embrace this freedom, the seeker must first accept that judgment will come. The seeker must accept that people will have opinions, that the world will have expectations. But the seeker is not obliged to carry them. The seeker can acknowledge these things and then set them down like a heavy bag upon the side of the road. The seeker can say, "This is not mine to carry. This does not define the beating of my heart, the movement of my breath, or the worth of my being." The Zen Master reminds the seeker of the lesson of the lotus. The lotus grows in muddy water. The world may be filled with noise, judgment, and confusion. Yet the seeker can rise like the lotus. The seeker can grow from the mud of doubt and judgment and open in the still air of understanding. The seeker can find strength in silence, knowing that peace is born from within, not granted from outside. This path is not one of arrogance, but one of deep humility. The seeker must understand that every person is caught in their own storm. Every person is wrestling with their own fears. What people say often says more about their own heart than it does about the seeker. The Zen Master guides the seeker to remember this. The seeker can listen with compassion, acknowledge with kindness, but remain rooted in the truth of their own being. The Zen Master tells the seeker, each moment you spend seeking permission from the world, you lose a moment of belonging to yourself. Do not walk this earth as a guest. Do not wait for the nod of a stranger. You are not a shadow upon this path. You are the path itself. You are the witness. You are the seeker. The judgment of others is like mist upon a morning mountain. It may obscure for a moment, but soon it passes. Do not cling to the mist. Let it dissolve. With practice, the seeker can stand firm. The seeker can watch words and glances rise and fall like waves upon a shore. The seeker can acknowledge that the waves come and go, but the shore remains. The seeker can walk upon this shore, knowing its worth, knowing its belonging. The seeker can carry themselves with quiet grace, knowing that this life, this breath, this moment is enough. Through this understanding, the seeker finds a profound freedom, not a freedom from others, but a freedom from the need for others. Not a separation from the world, but a belonging to oneself. The seeker no longer looks to the world for a mirror. The seeker becomes the mirror. The seeker shines, regardless of applause or silence. The Zen Master reminds the seeker that this is the path of inner strength. This is the path of accepting that no one can walk your path for you. No one can carry the weight of your heart, the depth of your understanding. These belong to the seeker alone. And when the seeker embraces this truth, when the seeker finds peace with this knowing, the seeker finds the door to a quiet, unshakable strength. The seeker can rise each morning and walk upon the earth as the mountain stands, as the lotus blooms, as the wind moves. The seeker can live fully, deeply, openly, knowing that life is a gift that needs no permission, no witness, no judgment. Life simply is. The seeker simply is. And so, the Zen Master closes this lesson with a soft whisper upon the wind. Trust your heart. Trust your breath. Let the world be as it is. Let the seeker be as the seeker is. In this knowing, in this quiet space within, the seeker finds a peace that no one can give and no one can take away. This is the path. This is the way. Not to seek belonging in the world, but to belong to oneself. Not to walk for the applause of others, but to walk for the beating of one's own heart. In this path, the seeker finds a silence that shines brighter than any voice, a strength deeper than any judgment, a freedom that no storm can break. Here, upon this quiet ground, the seeker rests, not because the world has stopped moving, but because the seeker has stopped chasing. Not because the world has stopped judging, but because the seeker has stopped listening. Not because the world has changed, but because the seeker has. In this stillness, in this knowing, the seeker becomes like the mountain, rooted, strong, and serene. The seeker becomes like the lotus, rising from the mud, blooming in the light. The seeker becomes like the wind, free, unbound, and timeless. The seeker becomes like the silence, present, whole, and unshakable. This is the gift of embracing inner freedom from social judgment. This is the gift that the seeker can claim, walk with, and live within for the rest of this precious life. The strength of self-compassion. The Zen Master sat quietly in the garden. The wind moved the leaves, and the sound of a bird floated in the air. He began to speak slowly, as if every word came from a deep well of understanding. He said, "When a person feels like no one cares, the first thing that person forgets is to care for themselves. It is a strange thing. The world can walk by, people can forget, friends can leave, but the person themselves must stay. Yet that person often turns against themselves. They call themselves worthless. They forget to be gentle with themselves. They forget that the heart inside needs kindness, like a small flame that needs shelter from the wind. Self-compassion is the quiet strength that changes this. It is not a force that roars, not a voice that shouts. It is a soft hand placed upon the heart. It is saying, it is all right. You have suffered. You have tried. You have felt pain. And still, you deserve to be treated with care. The Buddha spoke of this long ago. He said that all beings deserve compassion. All beings deserve love. But many forget that all beings includes ourselves. So many walk this earth with a heart that has closed itself, a heart that refuses to accept its own worth. They carry guilt like a heavy stone. They carry anger towards themselves. And this weight only grows until it becomes too much to bear. But the path of the wise is different. The wise one sees the heart that hurts and chooses to comfort it. The wise one understands that every person has moments of weakness. Every person feels lost. This is not a mark of failure. This is a sign of being human. The strength of self-compassion is like water. Water does not break the rock with force. It changes the rock slowly, patiently, with a quiet persistence. So too, when one treats oneself with kindness every day, the hard places inside begin to soften. The voice that once said, "You are not enough," becomes a voice that whispers, "It is all right. You are doing your best. You are enough as you are." A person may wonder, why should I be kind to myself when others have ignored me? Why should I care when no one else does? The answer is simple, because if you do not stand with yourself, who will? The world can forget you, but you can remember yourself. The world can walk away, but you can stay. The world can be cold, but you can be warmth. This is the strength of self-compassion. It is not about ego. It is not about putting oneself above others. It is about understanding that this life, this moment, this breath is a gift. And that gift deserves a heart that embraces itself. Not because it is perfect, but because it is alive. In the Buddhist path, one of the first lessons taught is metta, loving kindness. The monks practice it every morning, every night. They send wishes of kindness to all beings, to those they love, to those they dislike, and yes, to themselves. May I be well. May I be safe. May I be happy. May I be at peace. These words, repeated quietly, can melt the ice that is formed around the heart. The strength of self-compassion is like planting a seed. At first, it may seem too small, too fragile. You whisper to yourself, "I am trying. It is enough." And with that, a root finds its way into the soil of the heart. Slowly it grows. Slowly, it breaks through the surface. Slowly, it becomes a tree that can bear the weight of wind and rain. People often ask, how can I love myself when I have failed? How can I forgive myself when I have made mistakes? The Zen Master replies, look deeply. What is a mistake? It is a lesson wrapped in pain. What is a failure? It is a teacher disguised as defeat. What you call broken, life calls part of the path. Self-compassion is not an excuse for doing wrong. It is the wisdom to recognize that every person stumbles. The wise one sees this and chooses to rise again. Not with anger, not with judgment, but with a deep, patient understanding. To rise again is strength. To rise with kindness is strength that endures. The world may forget your name. The world may walk by your door. But if you carry compassion in your heart for yourself, you carry a flame that can illuminate the longest night. You carry a strength that no harsh word can extinguish. A person may ask, what if others still reject me? What if no one gives me the love I long for? The Zen Master would smile and say, then give it to yourself. Let it flow from within. Let your own heart be the spring from which this love emerges. Let the world do as it will. Let people come and go. Let the winds of change rise and fall. You can stand rooted deep because you have learned to be the keeper of your own flame. The strength of self-compassion is quiet. It is like mist upon the mountains at dawn. It does not call for attention. It simply exists. And in its existence, it transforms. The person who once felt like no one cared finds that this truth no longer wounds. The person who felt ignored finds that their worth shines brighter than any spotlight. Through self-compassion, one finds a deep peace. Not the peace that depends upon applause or agreement, but the peace that rests upon the knowledge that life itself is enough. Breathing is enough. Being is enough. The heart that feels is enough. The Zen Master would often end such moments with silence. Not silence as emptiness, but silence as the space where understanding can settle. In that silence, the person can feel the truth that has been offered, not as words, but as a seed falling upon the soil of the heart. So remember this, if you walk the path and find that no one notices, no one applauds, no one stays by your side, it is all right. The path is not made for applause. The path is made for learning. The path is made for knowing. The path is made for understanding yourself and others, for growing beyond pain, for finding strength in kindness. And this strength, the strength of self-compassion, is the bridge between the person you are now and the person you can become. It is the whisper in the heart that says, walk on, breathe, be gentle. You are enough. You have always been enough. In this way, no one needs to care for you to walk with strength. You can walk with strength because you have learned to care for yourself. You can walk with strength because you have embraced the warmth of a heart that has suffered and yet chooses to remain open. That is the strength of self-compassion, the strength that no one can take away, the strength that will carry you quietly and gently across every dark night and into every morning that arrives, living as your own guiding light. A Zen master sat quietly under a tall tree. The wind was soft, and the leaves whispered as if telling old stories. He looked at the people passing by and thought, how many of them feel lost? How many of them wonder why no one really cares? So he spoke, not with a loud voice, but with a voice that came from the heart. He said, my friends, the path you walk is truly yours. From the moment you were born, you came into this world alone. And when you leave this world, you will also leave alone. No one can walk with you forever. No one can carry your pain forever. This is a hard truth, but it is also the greatest gift you can accept. Look at a lamp. The lamp shines its light in the darkness, not because someone is watching, not because someone praises it, but because that is its nature. The lamp shines because it must. You too have a light within you. It doesn't need applause. It doesn't need anyone's permission. It doesn't matter if others notice or not. What matters is that you continue to shine. A long time ago, a student came to a Zen master and said, Master, no one understands me. No one cares about what I feel. What should I do? The master smiled, placed a hand on the student's heart, and said, then you must be the one who understands yourself. You must be the one who cares about yourself. You must be the one who shines for yourself, so that one day, others may find warmth in your light. The student felt those words deep inside. He stopped looking for warmth in the world and started creating warmth within himself. He stopped looking for light from others and started nurturing the flame inside. Slowly, he changed, not because the world gave him permission, but because he gave himself permission to live fully. My friends, this is the path you must walk. This is the end of searching for belonging in a world that doesn't always notice. The Buddhist said, be a lamp unto yourself. What does this mean? It means you must be your own guide. You must walk with awareness. You must carry the truth of your own heart as you move through life. People will come and people will go. Sometimes they will notice you. Sometimes they won't. Sometimes they will love you. Sometimes they won't. But none of this can define who you truly are. The stream of life will always flow, and those along its banks will change. What must remain strong and still is the river within you, the knowing that you are enough. If you wait for the world to understand you, you will wait forever. If you wait for the world to accept you, you will wait forever. But if you accept yourself first, if you understand yourself first, then the world can do as it wishes. Its noise can rise and fall. Its faces can come and go, but your heart will stay rooted like a strong tree. This is the way of the Zen. This is the way of peace. Remember, no one can walk your path for you. The footprints you leave are yours alone, and that is not a tragedy. It is a blessing. It means your life is a canvas that only you can paint. What others say or do may matter for a moment, but in the end, it is how you live, how you love, how you stand in your own truth that shapes the path before you. There's a story the old monks tell. A bird flew from its nest and wandered far across valleys and mountains. It searched for belonging everywhere, in tall trees, deep forests, and open skies. But every place felt foreign. The bird felt more and more lost until one day it stopped. It stopped searching. It came to rest upon a quiet branch and closed its eyes. In that silence, it felt a warmth rising from within. Suddenly it knew. The belonging it sought was never outside. It was always within its own heart. The world can forget your name, but you must remember it. The world can ignore your voice, but you must listen to it. The world can walk away, but you must walk beside yourself with kindness every step of the way. This is the path to true strength. This is the path to true peace. You have walked this long journey with us, through moments of pain and moments of understanding. You have learned to accept that no one can always walk beside you. You have learned that this is not a reason to despair, but a reason to grow stronger, wiser, freer. Carry this lesson like a lamp in your hands. Let it illuminate your darkest moments. Let it guide you when the road is long and the night is deep. Let it whisper to you when doubt tries to steal your peace. You are enough. You have always been enough. You will always be enough. In accepting that no one can give you the belonging you seek, you find belonging within yourself. In accepting that no one can carry your pain, you find the strength to carry it yourself. In accepting that no one can always walk with you, you find the grace to walk your path with a calm and loving heart. My friends, this is how a person becomes a lamp. This is how one becomes a refuge, a light upon the path. Not for glory, not for applause, not for notice, but for the simple beauty of living in truth and walking in peace. As this final chapter closes, remember the heart of the lesson. No one can give you your worth, your belonging, or your peace. These treasures already live within you. They have been waiting quietly, patiently for you to remember that you are strong enough, to remember that you are whole enough, to remember that you are enough. Walk forth from this moment with a soft smile upon your heart. Let the world come and go. Let people stay or leave. Let words rise and fall like the wind. None of this can change the quiet truth that shines within you. You are the lamp. You are the flame. You are your own guiding light. With this understanding, no one can truly make you feel lost. No one can make you feel abandoned. No one can make you forget who you really are. The path is long. The nights can be dark, but you walk with the lamp of understanding. You walk with the warmth of knowing that, no matter what, you can always come home to yourself. And when you walk like this, when you live like this, the world may still forget your name, but your heart will remember its own beauty. The world may still fail to notice your worth, but you will rise each morning knowing its depth. The world may still walk away, but you will walk forward with grace, knowing that every step you take is a prayer, every breath you draw is a gift, every moment you live is enough. So walk this path, shine your light, carry your heart with kindness. Let the world be as it is, and let yourself be as you truly are. This is the way of the Zen Master. This is the way of peace. This is the way of belonging, belonging that can never be taken, never be lost, belonging that lives forever within you.